Okay, so today we are going to learn task 1, right? Graph. So how to write graph? Graph is also called report writing. In report writing, different types of graph will be there. First, the graph can be in the following types. Line graph, generally used to show the trend. When you want to show the trend which is going up and down, then we can use line graph. Second, bar graph, generally used to show the comparison. When there is a comparison, then we can use bar graph. Bar graph is also called column graph, right? Third type is pie chart, generally used to show the contribution or sharing. That means when there is a sharing, you know the pie means size of pizza, right? Table can be used to show any type of above mentioned function. In table, you can show the trend, comparison or percentage. And last one is process diagram or flow chart, or we can say picture or map. So these are the types of the graph. Okay. Now how to write the structure of the graph? There are main three parts. Part number 1, it is called introduction. It is called opening paragraph. Part 2, body paragraph, and part 3, it is called overall, otherwise closing paragraph. So the part 3, closing or overall paragraph, you can write after introduction, otherwise at last. So first we see in an opening paragraph, that is called introduction. What you have to write in opening paragraph? In opening paragraph, you have to write number 1, paraphrase of 1 to 2 sentences. You don't have to copy. Copy means a rubric sentence. Don't write the copy sentence from the introduction. Just have to paraphrase the question. Second, these sentences explain what you are going to describe. See, when any topic is given, when you paraphrase the sentence, that means what you are going to describe in your graph. In body paragraph, you can write generally 2 to 4 paragraphs, depending on the type of graph you are going to write. Minimum 2 paragraphs or maximum 4 paragraphs. Don't write more than 4, 5 or 6 paragraphs. Ideally, it is 2 paragraphs. But when you want to describe something more details, you can write 3 or 4. Describe the most important features of the graph. Generally, the first paragraph of the body should begin with that. However, if you have to describe 2 graphs or even more graphs, allocate 1 paragraph to each of the graphs and describe them accordingly. Suppose you are given 2 or 3 different graphs, then you can describe each separately in a separate paragraph. But in one paragraph, you have to compare those different graphs. Then you may divide the paragraphs like this way. If there is only one graph, then most important change and the other changes. Clear? Now, the most important thing is that in body 2, there are 2 bodies. You may divide paragraph like this way, as I told you. If there are 2 or more graphs, then first graph starting with the most important changes in the first graph. If there are 2 graphs, then in first you can write most important changes in a first graph. Second graph or third graph, however, when there are 2 graphs given of the same kind, so you should go for the first mentioned describe above. Did you understand what I mean to say that? In each and every separate paragraph you can describe a different graph. Clear? Now, in closing paragraph is also called overall paragraph. In overall, 1 paragraph of 1 to 2 sentences. So what you are going to write in a closing or overall paragraph, you should write sum up. That means overall changes or overall trend shown in the graph. Means most important striking changes and least important striking changes. Clear? Now, how to write opening paragraph? What to write? In opening paragraph, in an introduction, you have to write 2 things only. First, what do graph shows, or what does the graph shows? What does the graph shows? Number 1. Question number 2, what are the graph about, or what is the graph about? If you answer these 2 questions, then your introduction will be perfect. Understand? You have to follow these 2 questions. Clear? Then what kind of words you have to use. Mostly students have problem in writing this kind of introduction. In introduction they are repeating the same question which is given. So that's why you can use this type of structure. First type of chart, that means subject, main verb and object, noun, clause. Now in subject you can write the given chart, graph, table, diagram or table according to the graph. Then in plural, figures, data, statistics, maps or pictures. If it is singular, then you can write the chart shows, graph indicates, table illustrates, diagram describe, table gives or presents. You can use any verb, but you don't copy from the question. Keep in mind this. For example, the chart shows, then you can write different words. Graph indicates. Then in a object, noun, clause, number of people, number of countries, number of visitors, then proportion of, when something about percentage, then information on, when you want to write some information, then information about. So you have to follow this structure. If there is singular, then figures show. For singular, subject will be plural, verb without s or es, that we know about simple present tense. Then data on, then data indicate, statistic illustrate, maps depict, pictures express or give. These are all synonyms, all similar verbs. So you have to prepare this chart completely. I will send you, okay? Now, next, how to write body paragraphs. The most important part of the graph, and most of the students have this problem. So it is always advisable to start with the most important point. See, always write most important point. However, it is not a thumb rule. It is not a fixed rule that you have to start with the most important point. But in some of answers will not begin with like this, but they will certainly highlight the most important point of the graph. This is most important things. Now, the first line, the first body paragraph should begin with expression shown in the table below. Now, how to start your body paragraph? Many students don't know how to start, which kind of expression you should use. Now let's see. You have to use this kind of expression. According to the table or chart, see, according to the diagram, as shown in the diagram, as can be seen from the graph, from the figures, according to the figures, it can be seen from the table or chart, it can be seen from the diagram, we can see from the table, it is clear or apparent or evident, graph, figures or that. So you have to use these tables, this expression in your starting of the body paragraph. Clear? After that, please understand that you must use word or verbs according to the function of the graph. According to the function of the graph, how? For example, if graph given is a line graph, then words or verbs you should use are of trend, like increase, decrease, rising sharply, reaching the peak, bottom, falling gradually and so on. These words are used for showing the line graph. You can't use these words for other graph. Keep in mind this. Same thing. Likewise, if you are asked to describe the pie chart, you should use the language like that is used in the description of the bar chart. Now let's see. Okay. More practice on appropriate language for line graphs, bar chart and pie chart. See, when you describe a graph, you should first identify or obvious the trend. Which trend? That means it is going up or down in the graph, because it is important to mention the same thing in your answer. You must also mention the highest or the lowest points in the graph. You should also cover the changes in the initial, middle and last part of the line graph. First changes, second changes or last changes you have to mention in your body paragraph. Trends can be described in using different types of sentences. See, I strongly insist you to practice the types of example given below, as they can help you in scoring high grades. If you use your own words which are not really similar to the required, then it will be meaningless. That's why if you use this kind of words, then you can score high bands in grammatical range and lexical resources. Lexical resources, that means vocabs. In an IELTS criteria, okay? One such type of sentence you mention below. So you have to follow this structure. Subject plus verb plus adverb time. Verb adverb pattern. If you use this pattern, you will get more verb add as compared to other students. Which pattern? Verb adverb. For example, the cells of something, cells of computer, or number of something, or number of laptops, plus verb plus adverb, from to, timing, or between and in the. These are fixed. From to, between and in the. Now let's see how you can use. For you can use that subject plus verb that indicate changes, adverb, verb, adverb, and then period of time, if applicable. For example, the sales of laptops increased suddenly in the last quarter from January to November. Got it? Second example, the sales of computers or laptops or something rose dramatically, swelled significantly, shot up steeply, climb up sharply, went up rapidly, jump up quickly, promptly, and some smoothly. These are the same verbs. You can use increase, rose, swell, shot up, same verb and the same adverb. And then you can use period from 2005 to 2007. Got it? Now, you have to prepare this chart. I will send you this, okay? Now next chart. Verb, then verb that indicates changes, adverb and period of time. For example, number of international visitors. Subject, decrease consistently, drop continually, fell gradually, reduce suddenly, went down slowly, slightly, steadily, fluctuated or varied between January to June. So this is the structure of your sentence in your body paragraph. Okay? So next structure you can see. The same sentence can be written with the following style. The first pattern, verb adverb, subject, verb, adverb and period of time. First structure. Second type of structure, period of time, subject, verb, adverb. Right? Now let's see how you can write. Period of time in the last quarter from 2005 to 2007, between January to June. Sales of laptop or number of international visitors. Subject, then increased sharply, went up slightly, shot up slowly, grew dramatically, swelled significantly, rose greatly, dropped or tumbled drastically, declined moderately, fell gradually and reduced or went down. So this is how you can use, right? Now, one more variety in the type of sentence you may use there plus to be, is ever, was, were, will be. A very adjective noun. There is an adjective noun structure. First structure, verb adverb. Second, adjective and noun. Plus in the number of something, subject, from, to and between and. This is the second type of structure. If you follow these two structure, you are going to get 100% more than 6 or 7 bits very easily. Now let's see the structure. First, there was something. For example, there was. Then adjective that indicates changes. There was a sudden increase. Here adjective and then noun. Adjective and noun. Sudden increase. There was a rapid jump. There was a dramatic rise. Significant growth. Sharp steep. There was a large decrease in the sales of laptop in the last quarter from January to June. There was a very large decrease. The number of international visitors from 2005 to 2007. So this is a whole sentence. Marked drop, fall, steady decline. There was a gradual reduction. There was a slow fluctuation, small fluctuation, slight variation. The number of international visitors from or between January to June. So prepare this structure. These two type of structure are very important, right? Now let's see. Now as I said that it is important for you to cover the highest and the lowest point in the description of the line graph, but some possible sentence structures given below can be helped in that case. How? Let's see. Subject, verb that indicates the top or bottom. Then we have used these words. An expression of the time or point of the time. For example, sales of laptop top or peaked in the last quarter or in the January or at the 10,000 number, something like that. Or the number of the international visitors bottom out when it is the last or highest or lowest. Then you can use these words directly. Okay? Next. Subject verb that indicates transition. What is the meaning of transition? We can see that this is called expression of a noun that indicates the top or bottom, an expression of the time and point of see subject plus verb. The sales of laptop or number of international visitors reached a peak. So this is called verb and their noun. Hit a high point, touch a low point, kissed a bottom, an expression of time in the last quarter from January to June, in January at 1000 numbers or at 22%. Okay. So now last we can see subject plus main verb. Subject plus main verb, then adverb of degree of comparison. Degree of comparison or fraction or scale of comparison. Now let's see how. This is most important types, because in most of graph when you want to show the percentage in a fraction, then we can use subject plus main verb. A company has, a company shows, a company something. Then adverb of degree of comparison, nearly, a 1/3, that means 33%. Almost, that means most of, approximately, about, just over. Nearly 1/4, that means quarter means 25%. Nearly 1/4 of the total number of workers. A 1/3 or a half, almost or 3/4. Okay, approximately quarter. That means quarter means 25%. Approximately quarter, that means it might be 24, 23, around 25. That is called approximately or around, or about 3/4. 3/4, that means 33 multiply 3, near about, right? So 3/4 about, that means approximately, just over twice, 3/4, twice, 3 times and half, and then you can use scale of comparison. Got it? Now last but not the least, subject, main verb, adverb of degree comparison, verb, noun plus scale of comparison. If you know this structure, then you can write any type of graph. I know that it is little bit difficult to understand the structure, but when you compare the structure with your writing, when you use this structure, the time of reading any graph, then you will understand how this structure can help you in a better way, in an effective way. First, subject plus main verb, company has. Then adverb degree comparison, almost, nearly, about, approximately, exactly, precisely. Then comparison word, as many as workers as many workers as much profit as, the same. Then B company, number of workers as company B, proportion of workers as company B, amount of workers as company B. So this is how you can use this template. Okay. So did you understand? I think you must have understood. Okay. So now I am giving you the last how to write closing, that means overall paragraph. Overall paragraph can be written after introduction or last. You have to use 3 different examples are given below. Linking words plus content. You must use linking words in overall paragraph. Therefore, thus, on the basis or given this, it can be, it may be, interpreted, it can be deduced, it can be derived, it can be inferred. That. So this way you can write your whole paragraph. Second way, from the table, from the figures, from the data, results or information or graphs or chart, it can be seen, it can be shown, estimated, it can be calculated, inferred, derived or deduced. First, second and third. Finally, overall, all in all, in the closing, we can see, we may see that, it can be seen that, it can be observed that, it is clearly seen that, or it is evident that. Okay, so this is how you can write closing paragraph. Got it? If you want to see some example of paragraph, body paragraph, you can see here some example are given. Now, how to describe pie chart? For example, pie charts are generally used to show the proportion, that means percentage, distribution, right? Percentage, sharing, proportion, and if you get more or one pie chart, you are expected to compare proportion or percentage or sharing. Now, I am giving you some example sentence that can helpful in describing pie chart. Some of them may be useful to you in the describing bar chart or line graph as well. For example, country X and country Y both had a 40% each. Okay. Second, the sales remained steady at 20%. The sales rose to 40%. The sales peaked at just about 80%. The quarterly profit increased or fell by 15% or from 15% to 25% or from 25% to 15%. University A had 15% of male students. Now 15% of male students studied or enrolled in University A. University A accounted for 15% of total students. Now see, three sentences are same, but they are written in a different way. They made twice or three times or half of the profit percentage of the profit in the June than in April. Profit percentage or percentage of profit double or sliced to half, rose threefold from 2001 to 2005. Now company A's profit contribution rose steadily, whereas that of company B fell. That of his profit B fell slightly or sharply. You can write there were more boys than girls. Comparison 25% and 18% respectively. Respectively shows that you are showing two or more information. Finally, I also suggest that students to go through the sample answers of different types of graphs given in the books. So read this answer. Why? To get more information about graph. Okay? So here we are going to end our graph format. So you have to follow